How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Jimmy. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about a different sort of topic, you know? The new Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 game has not been announced yet. We don't even know if it's going to be called Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3. And it's inevitable. They're going to make another Xenoverse game, or at least a game that is similar to Xenoverse in the fact that it's got CAC because of how successful Xenoverse as a series was. And I mean, that's just, we all know how successful they were. That's why they made a second one. The second one, however, was kind of shit, mind my language, because it was more or less just a copy and paste of the first game, as I've talked about in previous videos. Today I wanted to talk about how I believe Xenoverse 3, or whatever the next game may be, should approach the Majin Buu race. Mainly just because, you know, I feel like they did it so poorly in Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, and I feel like they could have done it so much better. Before I even go into this video, obviously, I shouldn't even have to say this. I'm not a game developer. I don't know what it goes into some of these things for a video game, but so I'm going to break this up into 3 parts, and we're going to talk about them separately in 3 parts. So first part is body types. I believe we should have 3 base body types for Majin Buu race. So the first would be skinny, which would kind of replicate Buu in Dragon Ball Super when he lost all that weight, or evil Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Z, the pure evil version of him, where he was like really skinny. A fit Buu, so like Super Buu, or I guess you could also call the Majin Buu that lost weight a fit Buu as well. So, you know, something like that. I think that would be kind of good. And, you know, obviously then fat Buu, because, you know, but it just doesn't, my original thing was, it doesn't make sense to only have one type of Buu, for example, fat Buu, but then have a female Buu that's skinny. It just doesn't make sense to me to limit male Majin Buus to fat Buu. And because, I mean, by nature, Majin race is actually, its original form is Kid Buu, but it was Seal. If you're going to make a Majin Buu race, it doesn't make sense to limit it to Fat Buu, because Fat Buu isn't even its original form. Now, obviously, the lore of Majin Buu and the Buu race was essentially that, if I remember correctly, it went along the lines of Majin Buu ate so much that he started splitting up into a bunch of little Buus, and then that created the Majin Buu race. Fair enough, but with a CAC game like this, people are not going to use the Majin Buu race if they have to be forced to play as the Fat Buu, because it's just not, it's not enjoyable. I don't know. I always find I can't play as Fat Buu personally, because it's just, that's it. You know, I think that's really it. Like, come on, Bandai Namco, just give it to us. Just Jesus. And you know, when we get the small sizes and stuff, I don't like, this is going to be a personal gripe in a lot of other possible Xenoverse 3 videos that I make in the future. But the scaling for body types is just wrong. Like, when you make a smaller body, it literally keeps the same proportions for the most part as the proportion scale, I should say, as every other height. It just scales it down, and it just looks wrong. It doesn't look good. And it's a big reason as to why I play Xenoverse less and less, just because they're not going to fix it in Xenoverse 2. So all I can really do is wait for Xenoverse, the next game. But anyway, that's it for that. Second part would be transformations. Now, look, I'm not too fussed about the transformations. The Kid Buu transformation is fine, but I think it would be cool, you know, a feature to add like an absorb transformation that maybe needs, like, that would act as a sort of an ultimate move, but a transformation, or maybe it would actually act as an ultimate technique, so you have to use up an ultimate skill slot to use this, as well as your transformation, so that in that way maybe your character would technically have 2 transformations. But it would be kind of like, it'd be more, it would be an absorb transformation, kind of similar to obviously Super Buu with Gohan absorb, that maybe will hit your opponent, and maybe you get a stat buff on par with a Super Saiyan or whatever. And the Kid Buu, I would say, would get a stat buff on par with maybe Super Saiyan Blue. That way it would actually, you know, obviously, maybe we would have absorb as a transformation, separate transformation to Kid Buu. I just think it would be a cool sort of feature to add an absorb feature into this, 100%. You know, that way it feels like the Buu race actually is getting some love, and I feel like the Buu race does not get enough love in Xenoverse. As I can see, like I was going to say, you know, Xenoverse is like one of the most unused races from what I've seen in Xenoverse, just because people don't play Fat Buu. And the only Buu race that people play is the female race, because they don't want to play a chunk. I mean, let's be real. Like, you can't play it. Like, I don't know. It's in some regards you can, but when you're playing ranked or whatever, people are not going to use the Buu race because they are slower. They may have more health, but that health isn't going to do you any good if you can't counter, say, a Saiyan with their fast combos. You know, I've seen the Buu race being used in ranked, and sometimes they work really well, but for the most part they don't, which is why they are unused. Anyway, third part would be customization. Now, there's not really too many things I can add to customization because the main parts are the body types. Mainly the only thing I can say about the margin race for customization options is to add better like head features. So instead of like those bobble sort of flappy tentacle penis things, whatever you want to call them, that are just kind of like very feeble. They're not very pronounced. They're very chibi-ish, I'll say. We'll say cute-ish. I feel like it would definitely benefit if they added some of the more features that actually relate to the original Majin Buu and Super Buu. So maybe you could have a longer style where it would have like, it'd be like a longer tentacle thing, whatever it is. I can't remember what it actually is, but it'd be like a longer tentacle, but it would have different styles in that longer tentacle. So you could have the same sort of head style as, say, Super Buu Gohan Absorbed. Because if they add these things for Majin Buu race, people are going to start using that Majin Buu race, because that like when we play CACs, the first like we want these things, man. Like I remember thinking like if the Majin Buu race becomes a thing, I want to use Super Buu, and then they didn't do it for Xenoverse 2, and I was just so upset about it. That's why I was very disappointed with Xenoverse 2 compared to Xenoverse 1, just because there wasn't much difference. There was some battle mechanics that were added, but I mean, for someone that was more into it for the CAC, it was a casual fighter, you know, it's for the casual audience, the casual Dragon Ball fans. You know, I feel like they definitely could have added more into the CAC part of the game in terms of you know, original customization. But anyway, that's about it though, to be honest. I think that if Xenoverse 2 did actually improve on some of these features, I definitely think it would do a lot better when they bring out the next game in the series. There's no telling what the next CAC-based Dragon Ball game will be. It may be Xenoverse 3. Honestly, I think it will go the similar approach that Heroes took. So instead of Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3, they probably will take the approach similar to Super Dragon Ball Xenoverse as a start to a new generation of console. So with Dragon Ball Heroes, they had Dragon Ball Heroes, obviously. They had all the Dragon Ball Hero games. And then once they got to, I think it was 2017, I want to say, they switched it up to Dragon Ball Super Dragon Ball Heroes, because, you know, it was kind of like a new generation for it. And definitely, I think that might be the approach that they take, because Xenoverse is very similar to Dragon Ball Heroes in terms of the actual story. It's got Toa Mirror, Super Dragon Ball Time, Super Supreme Kind of Time, or whatever her name is. Look, guys, that's about it, honestly. I don't want to harp on too much more about it. We're going 15 minutes. I'll try and cut this down as much as I can to just kind of stick to the main stuff. But honestly, guys, I'd love to see this on the next-gen console, whether it be Super Dragon Ball Xenoverse or Dragon Ball Xenoverse 3 or whatever they may title it. I'd love to see it, and I hope they make some of these changes. Now, there will be more videos like this coming in the future, because there's a lot of things I want to voice, and because we're getting closer to this next-gen console, with the PS5 and the Xbox 2 or Scarlet, I definitely think we need to start getting out, voicing our opinions and what we want out of the next game out there, so that they know, you know, like we need to speak up about it, because if they're not developing it already, they are going to start developing it soon, and now is the best time to start speaking up about it and what we want, you know, because they won't know unless we actually voice it, and we may be able to, like, I'm sure everyone's harped on about it enough, so I'm sure they've got a good idea of what they need to improve on it, but it never hurts to get more, you know what I mean? Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.